Rama 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 Rama.
The schedule for day 2 of our Sri Lankan visit was hectic. The driver had already cautioned about it. Therefore, we got up quite early. After an early breakfast, checked out of the hotel, and we were off to Ramboda. Ramboda is 160 kilometers away from Colombo. It is said that it was the place where Hanuman rested briefly. He was traveling by air from Rameswaram to Sri Lanka, searching for the whereabouts of Sita. We reached Ramboda in the forenoon. The drive was pleasant with excellent roads all the way. Getting down from the vehicle, I looked around. The scenic setting all around, I felt that it was no surprise that Hanuman chose it for a much needed brief rest. The place is a veritable oasis of everything the nature can stockpile for rest and relaxation. It is a serene, bright, green-topped valley with a river flowing majestically by the side, full of cool and clean water. The place is full of beautiful trees with mouth-watering fruits. It also has the plants in full bloom, emitting intoxicating smell that attract hummingbees and honey birds. The mild, cool and highly refreshing breeze that ran around the valley carried the fragrance of the flowers. The huge misty mountains all around provide the perfect background for the valley. A beautifully constructed Hanuman temple at the center of it provided icing of the cake. Our mind got filled with pride to learn that the temple was constructed under the leadership of Swami Chinmayanand of Chinmaya Mission, Mumbai. It was Swami Chinmayanand, originally from Kochi, who took the message of Bhagavad Gita to the English-speaking householders with his unique ways of preaching. The greenish lawns around the temple were well maintained. The temple has everything a devotee can ask for: the serenity and ambience to fill the minds while worshipping Hanuman, and a sumptuous prasad to fill the empty forenoon stomachs. But for the tight schedule, we would have spent many more hours in that place. Like Hanuman, we too had our job cut out in Sri Lanka as we proceeded to the next important destination connected with Ramayana. Our next destination was Divurungpola. The place is near to Nuwara, that is around 35 kilometers from Ramboda. It is one of the most significant Ramayanam sites in Sri Lanka. But the incident associated with that place is something the devotees hardly like to remember. Divurungpola means a place of oath. It is here Sita voluntarily took the fire test. The Ramayanam incident surrounding the place is something the devotees of Sri Ram can hear only with eyes welled up with tears and heart filled with deep anguish. It was that of Sita voluntarily entering into fire, unable to bear Sri Ram publicly disowning her because she was kept in captive by Ravan for an year. After a painstaking search for the kidnapped Sita, for over a year from Panchavati to Sri Lanka and fighting a fierce war that ended with the killing of Ravan and his entire wicked army, Sri Ram requested Vibhishan to ceremoniously bring Sita to his presence. The whole army was waiting for that emotional reunion between Sri Ram and Sita. But something else took place beyond anybody's expectation. When Sita came and stood in front of him, Sri Ram sternly told her that as a ruler he had performed his duty and rescued her from Ravan's captivity. Sri Ram then told her that she was free to go wherever she wanted, as he could not accept her because she was in the captivity of Ravan. Stunned by such rude behavior from Sri Ram, Sita was silent for a few minutes, but quickly collected her wits and replied that Sri Ram should not forget her family's high moral standards, and that it was not her mistake that Ravan had kidnapped her. But Sita could not bear the public insult. She requested Lakshman to prepare a pyre to end her life then and there. When Lakshman found Sri Ram unmoved, he hesitantly prepared the pyre in which Sita entered after loudly telling Agni Deva to protect her if at all she never ever thought of any other than Sri Ram in her whole life. Even as the whole army was expecting the words, a miracle took place. Agni Dev himself brought back Sita and handed her back to Sri Ram with an assurance that she was undefiled. Sri Ram wanted Sita to undergo the fire test had many reasons. One was to preempt any future public allegations against him as a ruler for accepting Sita held captive by Ravan. Such was the high moral yardstick Sri Ram kept himself. As the ruler, he wanted the public to know that Sita was pure and undefiled. Offering our prayers, we came out of the temple and went around the surroundings where Sita took the fire test. As we prepared to leave that place sanctified by such a public demonstration of high moral values, I thought about the modern day democratically elected rulers in our country. It is a far cry for most of them to have any such moral standards for self or family members. They appear to have no issues even if they and their family members indulges in immorality and misconduct in full public glare. Those thoughts haunted me right up to Nuwara Eliya, the next destination 20 kilometers away. But the roadside views on the way to Nuwara Eliya worked as a soothing balm for the heart-wrenching pain experienced till then. The car sped upwards in its journey towards Nuwara Eliya, tucked away on the top of a series of mountains. Atmosphere there was filled with cool, misty, rainwater-laden clouds. It was drizzling. The air carried the intoxicating fragrance of flowers. It also carried the gurgling sounds of the river, waterfalls in the not so far away places. The whole atmosphere was electrified and sufficient to soothe the ruffled mind and senses. Nuwara Eliya is a hill station in the midst of tea-growing hills of central Sri Lanka. It resembles our Ooty or Munnar hill stations, but offers lot of variety when it comes to sightseeing and accommodation. one can see only tea gardens endlessly. The sunset was just a few minutes away by the time we reached the place. As the twilight started pulling its dark blankets from bottom up over the faraway eastern mountains, a chilly evening set on the place. We huddled into the cozy comforts of our accommodation in the hotel.
പരിപാലിക്കും കാലമനപത്യത്വം കൊണ്ടു പരിതാപേന ഗുരുചരണാംബുജദ്വയം വന്ദനം ചെയ്തു ചോദിച്ചിടിനാനെന്തു നല്ലു.